As the U.S. fertility rate drops, the immigration bubble is set to pop. What am I talking about? Hello, this is Chart GPT today. Well, I take a look at the fertility rates. Some new numbers that just recently came out here. And we can see that the fertility rate in the U.S., like many Western countries, is set to drop and has been dropping. I want to take a look at some of these numbers here. The percent of change in terms of the percent of population. We have been growing since the year 2000, and of course more recently, starting around let's call it 2008-ish, it's beginning to drop rather precipitously to zero. So the percentage of growth is dropping to zero. And the death rates came up, but that's probably due to a bit of COVID. And the birth rate, you can see here, is beginning to decline. So we can see that the American population growth is slowing dramatically. It's almost near zero. So interesting point there. Here's kind of a map to show where the growth is and where it's not. Mostly out west, the percentage of fertility rates is dropping the highest, and a little bit on the east coast. So it kind of shows you where that population change is occurring, which is a lot of people have been talking about that and looking at why that might be. But here's a more detailed look about the share of Americans under 45 with children. For women, it's dropped from 60 almost down to 50. That's a pretty good drop. And of course, with men, it's even dropped further from 47, 48 down below 40-ish. So you can see that this drop has been steady over the last 10 to 20 years. Here's those same numbers on a children per woman or children per man. You can see that same on a different scaling there. Looking at a racial breakdown of it, you can see that since 2010 just to 2020, the white fertility rate has dropped from 1.8 to 1.55. African Americans have even dropped from 190 to 171. So it's maybe less so amongst African Americans, but still, nevertheless, the decline is there. Asian Americans, I don't know if they don't have the data here for 2010, but Asian fertility rates have also dropped even worse than white. And Hispanics as well. It's dropped below that magic 2.1 where you need to maintain your population has dropped. So overall, United States here, according to this data, is about 1.64. So it's about probably a good 10-20% drop over the last 10 years here alone. Looking at the forecast here, you can begin to see that when you just look at birth minus the deaths, we're going negative here, probably very soon, starting around the 2035, 2040. And you can see that even in 2030, the immigration rates are going to start dropping. So this immigration flow that we've seen steady over the last 10-20 years is beginning to drop dramatically. Now this chart says it'll level out in 2040, but that's pretty far in advance. I'm not sure you can believe that. But the point is the overall population growth is in decline. Even though it's still positive, we're seeing the population rates, which will have a significant effect on the growth, because it'll mean less need for new homes, less need for new house formations, and all the things that you tend to buy when you buy new homes. So you can begin to see that's going to factor into the economy, where the growth effect will not be there in terms of population growth that we've had in the past. So in a sense, the immigration bubble is popping. The fertility rates are basically coming down, and so the population in America is going to be coming to decline. This is very similar to other countries, probably less so in America than some of the other in Europe, but nevertheless, the immigration bubble is popping, causing this decline in population rates. I asked the AI what are the interesting things that causes population declines and infertility rates. So that's kind of interesting to look at, and give us your opinion. Has the immigration bubble popped and made it become less and less of an issue in the future, or not? Don't forget to subscribe.